Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well today. At the time of filming this, am just about to go away and leave all of my plants for 2.5 weeks. I'm off to the RHS Festival in Malvern, which I'm super excited about. But before I leave, I just wanted to kind of give you a general walkthrough of my whole plant collection, show you what's going on, just kind of give you some updates and let you know where I am at with things. I have got some drama going on with my plants at the moment as well, so I just kind of wanted to chat you through that. But also, since I moved in here, which was a couple of months ago now, I have wanted to give you a little bit of a house tour. And I know if you're on my Patreon, then you will have got a kind of glimpse behind the scenes in certain aspects. But I thought today I could just give you a whole walkthrough of the house and maybe the garden as well, depending on whether or not it rains. It kind of looks like it might rain at the moment, but I'm hoping it won't. And then I can take you outside and just show you a bit of everything. So yeah, that is very much just going to be the plan for today's video. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learned over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And yeah, I've been really looking forward to making a video like this for a while, but in classic fashion, I am making it at a time where things are just a little bit chaotic. So it's going to very much be a realistic house tour and just a look at things plant-wise, but I hope you enjoy it and let's get into it. So as you guys know, this is my kind of main planty space. This is where I've been filming the majority of my videos in since I moved in here. And I will come back to updates in this space because this is where the majority of my plants are. But I have also got various other planty things around the house. So I haven't really, if you're not on my Patreon, I haven't really shown you upstairs yet. And the thing is, I think I've been waiting to make this video at a time where, I don't know, I've just wanted things to be really, really perfect. And it's just kind of dawned on me that I think probably my house is never going to look like a show home, nor would I want it to. But yeah, it's always going to be a little bit chaotic and there's work to be done, but I just thought I would give you an idea of where we were at the moment. This is not a full plant tour, so I'm not going to take you through everything, but I have got a big snake plant just there. That is probably one of the only types of plant I think that would survive in this spot because it's really not very well lit. But so far, it seems absolutely fine. But also artwork a la Ross all over the house. This is one of my favourites of his. It is just beautiful. But coming into the bathroom, I've mentioned in a few videos, we decided to go a little bit rogue with the bathroom. I will put a picture on the screen of what it looked like when we first moved in. But we decided to go with green and we've actually repainted the bathroom a couple of times because we did it the first time. And it just came out, when I say wicked, it was like such a bright, bright green and I was just not a fan of it at all. So we did repaint it. We've kind of we've settled on this and I think I'm happy with this. But it's certainly a transformation, that's for sure. We also painted all of the grouting because it was just white before and we kind of wanted to give it that metro tile look. Again, we've heard mixed things about grout paint as opposed to actually repainting everything, but we decided to go with this and so far so good. But again, if I turn the light off, you can kind of get an idea of the light that this bathroom gets. I'm filming this video at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so this is as much natural light as it ever gets. Its only light source is this little window. So I have been quite limited plant-wise of what I can put in here, but so far everything seems okay. My Dieffenbachia here, it kind of keeps turning to face the light, which is obviously to be expected. I just turn it when it does because it kind of looks nicer facing into the room. And then I've just got some pothos cuttings propagating just behind here, which I think looks quite nice. But this dark corner here, I did have a peace lily here when we first moved in for the first month and a half. And although it looked so beautiful in that spot, and in fact visually prefer it to what's there at the moment, It just wasn't happy. It was constantly drooping. It lost all of its blooms, and I was like, okay, the plant's clearly not happy. Let's mix it up. It's too soon to tell whether or not this one is going to be happy there long term, but it is another Sansevieria. I've grown this one in very, very, very low light spots over the years, and it's been absolutely fine. So I would hope it would be okay like that. And again, just another pothos cutting that is trailing up there. Again, we did stick it up better and it's fallen down, so probably need to like put a little screw in the ceiling or something like that. I don't know. But yes, that is the bathroom. And then this is Ross's study, and I will put some clips in of that because it is absolute chaos at the moment. I've got various bits for my show garden at Malvern in there, and no spoilers because I am going to be making a video on that. But yeah, there's just lots going on in that room that I'm not going to show you right now. Airing cupboard just there, not very exciting. And then we enter another room of slight chaos. This is a lot of my stuff that I am planning on taking to Malvern. Got myself a fancy new light recently and various kind of techie bits that I'm going to be bringing. But then this isn't a massively planty space at the moment. As you can see, I have got my ZZ plant, a section of my Monstera dubia, which needs some attention, but that's going to have to wait until I get back now. We've then got various little terrariums that, to be honest, probably need some attention on the windowsill behind. These are all ones that we made when we were at the flat and haven't really done anything to since. And they look quite pretty just there in the window. But yeah, as I say, I think they do. Some of them need chopping back, some of them need replanting. There's a couple that I fear might have started to rot. So yeah, there's a few things to do there. And this is the peace lily that was not getting on well in the bathroom. So for now, it's just here. And you know what? I'm actually thinking the white window shelves that I had in the window at the old flat, I'm thinking of maybe at some point putting them up on this back wall and creating kind of like an experimentation zone of some sort, because I feel like this room actually gets pretty good natural light. And I think at the moment this is just a little bit of wasted space that, as I say, it's kind of just storage. But then also, we look past all the Malvern mess, I have got my original cabinet that is just sat empty at the moment, and I keep saying I want to do something with, and I just haven't got around to doing it. And again, I would absolutely love to set this up with all of my grow lights again and get this going as maybe kind of like, I don't know, propagation, really unusual things that I just kind of want to create terrarium conditions for, you know, like really high humidity, keep them somewhere very out of the way of Yoli's tail, protected. So yeah, at the moment that is something that will hopefully become a project soon, but it is something that's had to take a bit of a back seat. I think before I moved in here, I really thought that maybe I'd get on top of things quicker. I think I had slightly unrealistic expectations of where I wanted to be with things, but yeah, it's kind of fun to have not moved in and done everything super, super quickly. There's definitely still lots to be done. Also, just in terms of redecorating and stuff, I don't know if you guys find this, but often I think when you move house, upstairs is the thing that probably should come first, but often gets left till last because you know it's a space that typically only you're gonna see. But then this is our bedroom, and coming through here, again, not massively planty at the moment. I've got my Calathea rubifolia down there in the corner, which is doing amazingly well. It is fairly dehydrated at the moment, and in fact, pretty much, I was saying this in a video the other day, but pretty much all of my plants are dehydrated at the moment because I'm trying to time it so that when I leave for Malvern, I will have done like a complete thorough soak through water of most of my plants, and then Ross won't have much to do when I'm away. I'd like to leave him with as little as possible if I possibly can. So yeah, today, after filming this video, I'm going to go through and do a mass water. But for that reason, you're likely in this video to see lots of very dehydrated plants. Got another little Calathea on my bedside table just there. Eventually, we are going to get the floating shelf that we had at the flat back up above our bed here, and we're going to have lots of lovely plants trailing down and create a lovely growing space there. This is something that I wanted to do quite early on, but again, we just haven't got around to it yet. As I say, upstairs has taken a little bit of a back seat, so the bedroom has been very neglected. But these are some of the plants that I hope to put on that shelf. I've got my Polyneura, an Ace Cananthus, and a Hoya that I showed you in a video the other day. This is one of my Australis Hoyas, and in fact it's just started putting out this really crazy bit of growth just here. So I actually think maybe I need to trellis this section. I might do kind of like a combo, like have one bit trailing and one bit going around a trellis. But I don't know yet, not entirely sure. And this wall here, we're kind of keeping deliberately plain, because what we're thinking is we're gonna either build or buy a really big empty frame there, and then we've got the projector over there on Ross's side that will eventually go on the floating shelf when it's here. But then if we want to watch a movie in bed or something, then we could have it projecting up there, but the frame would kind of hopefully make it feel a little bit intentional. I don't know, that's just what we're thinking at the moment. But then, yeah, the windowsill is primarily, in fact, excluding these two here, it is just cacti and succulents, and everything here has done really well. This is a spot that gets really fantastic light. I haven't needed to do that much too. Obviously, it's right above a radiator, so I haven't needed to worry too much about humidity with these ones. There are a few things, like for example, this one has just like come out of its pot. You can see like it needs replanting and stuff like that. I have got a few things to do. This, in fact, and this is bad, this happened in the move and I just haven't got around to doing it yet, despite the fact that was a couple of months ago. But yeah, everything else is doing well. I got this plant the other day. This is a Euphorbia mam, I'm gonna need to put the name on the screen, mam something. I'll just hold it there so you can see it. Isn't that gorgeous? I just saw that in a local garden centre and I was like, I have to have it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying having a space where I can just keep a lot of my really, really low maintenance plants and know that they are going to do well. Like, I water this maybe like once every 3 weeks. It's probably going to pick up a little bit with summer, because obviously temperature, hours of light, intensity of light, all that sort of stuff. But right now that seems to be working pretty well and everything is growing nicely. My fiddle leaf fig over here is just not doing well. It hasn't been doing well for ages. And I actually think I need to change the position of this one because I think it's in a spot where I am just neglecting it at the moment. It's obviously by very low maintenance plants. And although it's not the highest of maintenance plants, it is one that requires a little bit more attention than like the bear paw cactus, for example. So yeah, I think my plan for this one is probably going to be to chop and propagate. I'd like to prop that top section and then hope that that encourages some branching down here on the lower part of the plant. And that way I can hopefully get a lovely big, more kind of tree-like plants going in the long run. But yeah, as I say, once we've got a few more shelves and things set up in here, I feel like this space will be able to become a little bit more planty. But it's at a level at the moment that definitely doesn't feel stressful for me, because I know I said sometimes when I was at the flat, like the bedroom space could feel overcrowded and cluttered very easily. And we've actually, I think, kept things fairly minimal in here intentionally so that it doesn't feel overwhelming. But yeah, can't wait to get those up on a shelf, out of the way. That one over there, it's my variegated peace lily. That one, again, happy in that spot, but desperate for a water. So yeah, that's on the list later. But yeah, that is currently what upstairs is looking like. It's really not as planty as maybe I'd like it to be long term. But yeah, I think just kind of easing ourselves into it and figuring out still our plans for stuff, because we're still very much playing. We got everything in and how we wanted it quite quickly. And now, yeah, now we just kind of are figuring things out as we go. I've got one plant here in the hallway. This is an aglaonema. I've got this one in semi-hydro and it's growing really, really well there. We've done a little bit of decorating in the hallway, painted the front door and put those, these are just peel and stick things actually that we got on Amazon, but they're stained glass and it's annoying, it's not sunny at the moment, but when the sun shines through it, oh my goodness, it is just beautiful. It creates gorgeous kind of rainbow shapes all through the hallway and it just looks gorgeous. I've said it as well in other videos in regards to plants, but like since being in a bigger space, I don't know why, like colour just isn't freaking me out as much as it was before, because I used to find it a little bit overwhelming at times, but yeah, no, I'm really loving it in here at the moment. This is also just cupboard where I keep like boots, Yoli stuff. We don't need to see that, it's chaotic. We did, however, have understairs storage put in last month, I think. It still needs another lick of paint. I did one coat and then got classically distracted and haven't gone back to it. But we've got like coats and stuff in the middle cupboard. That is just kind of like paints, screwdrivers, all that sort of stuff. And then the big one at the end is my new cupboard of chaos, and I'm really annoyed, you guys, because my cupboard of chaos up until this week, I know this sounds like a pathetic excuse, but up until this week has been so organised, and I think, as I say, I've been pulling all sorts out for Malvern and just trying to figure things out, and it's now back to being a wee bit chaotic. I mean, I would say it's like organised chaos, but it's nowhere near as visually pleasing as it has been so far. But just a little overview of my organisation. I've got like all of my garden Velcro and stuff like that there, all my S-hooks, all like horticultural soaps, specific sponges and things to wipe down plants, because before I was so bad at being like, I'll use that for the washing up and then I'll steal it and I'll take it for the plants. I'm trying to really keep things separate now. Also, because my propagation containers at the flat in the cupboard of chaos were taking up such a crazy amount of room, now what I've done is I'm just gonna let myself stack these ones. If I've got bigger ones, then I will obviously keep them in the cupboard, but all of the ones that are like the standard size that I use, all of them are going to live like that. And if I get too many, then I won't keep them. I'll recycle them, because otherwise I just end up hoarding a ridiculous amount of stuff. But things like little cable ties and stuff, I've put them in bags, and I'm really doing my best to stay more organised with my planty stuff. But the reality is, obviously, I pull things out of this cupboard like all the time. I've tried kind of like hanging things up, so like trellises and moss poles and stuff like that. I'm trying to just keep it more organised than it was, but as I say, yeah, this week is just a ridiculous week. I was just thinking to myself, I was like, I just don't think there's ever gonna be like a good time where like there's nothing happening that I can be like, oh, let's just show you around because everything is so chilled, because that just doesn't happen in my world. But here's Yoli in her bed. What a good girl. Hello, baby. Hi. Oh, yes, I know. She has been so good, bless her, about using her bed, because we got new sofas when we moved in here, and she's always very much been a sofa dog, and we were like, for at least the first few months, should we try and keep the sofas nice and keep her in her bed? And she hasn't even tried, that's a lie. She has tried to get up onto the sofas, but most of the time she does just go to her bed. She's also got a bed upstairs in our room, and she also sleeps in bed with us. So I think that's how we are kind of making it work. But no, this is the living room. I know I've shown you in here a few times. And plant-wise in here, so again, there's still more that I want to do in here, but these are some of my lower light plants. Low light plants, I've got those ones there, and then these ones over here, they are all like my super, super low light plants. And these ones, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be like just too dark. I don't know if like these plants are even going to survive, let alone grow. And I've got my Hoya gracilis, one of my Hoya gracilis, and Aglaonema. I can't remember what Aglaonema that actually is, but I've got 2 of those there, and they've both put out quite a lot of growth since I've been here, which I've been really amazed by. And I really love just like having a little bit like coming off the shelf, and I just think it makes that area look really, I don't know, it just softens it somehow instead of just having like objects that aren't plants, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I know what I mean. But then I've got my Philodendron Dean McDowell up here, and I don't really know what I'm doing with that plant, to be honest. Like, I cannot bring myself to get rid of it because I've grown it from such a little thing and I love it so much. It is happy there and it is growing. However, it just looks a bit weird, you know? Like, I don't know. There's something about it that I just find a little bit jarring. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. I also just don't think in that position I'm able to really appreciate the beautiful kind of pillowy leaves that it's got. You just kind of miss it, and that makes me sad because it is just such a beautiful plant. But yeah, apart from that, I've got my little begonia cabinet that I set up there, which is doing well. However, I actually don't think I need that mother grow light on it. I actually think it's probably a little bit too bright for some of the begonias in there. I can see some of them are like ducking down out of the way. It also, again, is, God, look how much they've grown though. My God, it's overflowing with growth since I first made that. And that was only a month ago. But yeah, I've got a lot of watering, as I say, to do before I leave tomorrow. And these plants here behind the sofa, so all of these ones have been doing well. However, and again, I think this is why like upstairs in the bedroom, which is above this window, is so good for the cacti and succulents. These ones, like literally in the last couple of weeks, have scorched so much. I've had to pull them as far back from the window as I possibly can. But like, look at that alocasia leaf. That's just completely burnt. And it's happened with quite a few of these plants. So if that continues, I think I'm going to have to make this shelf as well, at least at this time of year, cacti succulent area. And I'm going to have to move these ones back to somewhere else in the room. Obviously, the sun is just so strong this year. I don't know if it's global warming. I don't know if it's just that this is a really, really bright spot that maybe I didn't get this kind of light when I was at the flat. But yeah, so anyway, before I go to Malvern, I think I'm probably going to put most of those plants on the table just here. So they're still going to be getting decent light. Also, there's been some little roster activity, but I will talk you through that in a moment. Yeah, I think I'm going to pull them back so that they've got good light, but they're not at risk of scorching when there's no one here to monitor them. Because yeah, Ross is coming up a week after me, but I don't know, I notice things with my plants a little bit quicker than I think anyone else would. That feels like the safest bet, I think. But yeah, very quickly on the little roster note, he's been making loads of little rosters, but also Ross has started casting some of them, which is really, really exciting. Like if you look over here, look at all these little ones that he's casted. He's painting them at the moment, and he's thinking about potentially starting to sell them, which is really exciting. I've been saying to him for such a long time he should do it because they are amazing, like absolutely amazing. I was like, if he could cast and paint something like that, I feel like it would do so well. So yeah, keep an eye out, stay tuned, keep an eye on his Instagram. But yeah, so that is what's going on with those ones there. And it's funny because actually pretty much all of these plants on the shelf behind just here are ones that I've never, ever, ever had issues with before. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, all of them are scorching, all of them are burning, all of them are doing things that I don't like and I need to deal with very quickly. So it's a little bit scary when that happens all at once sometimes. And then another one that I have got up here is my Hoya Bella, and this is the worst light to show you this plant in because it's right against the window. but you can probably see she's flowering. She's flowering in several different spots and looks absolutely beautiful. And the main reason that that plant is hanging there in the middle of the window is just to kind of isolate it, because I've said it recently, but that's one that struggled a lot with mealybugs. And yeah, I have just wanted to kind of not let that spread to other plants. So that seemed like a good place to put her. I also really like the look of that plant there. I know Ross isn't mad keen on it, but I quite like it. And then euphorbias, again, not worried about them in the time I'm away. They will be absolutely fine. Not a huge amount of growth on these ones yet, but they do seem very healthy. I'll probably give them a water before I go, and then, as I say, they will be totally fine for a couple of weeks. This one is another one that I'm still a little bit like, oh, I don't know what to do with you. It's my big Monstera albo that has pretty much completely reverted now. It definitely adds a lot of green to that area, and I think it does look nice there. But I think I love the green more than I love the plant. It was a plant at one point. Oh, in fact, it has got a new leaf, just noticed. It was a plant at one point that I was absolutely in love with, and it was, I probably would have said, one of my favourite plants. But I've had it for about 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. And I'm just not as in love with it as I once was, let's say. So yeah, I think at some point I may find myself chopping that one up and perhaps putting some shelves there for other plants, such as the ones down here, just like a little bit of greenery going up the wall. I don't know. But yeah, for now it's all right there. And as I say, yeah, just got a few little ones down here. This one I got fairly recently. And again, it's an aglaonema. I'm not quite sure what type of aglaonema it is, because it kind of looks like the Silver Queen in a way, which in fact I've got just here. Kind of looks like the Silver Queen. But I think maybe it's a hybrid. It was just labelled aglaonema mix. So if anybody has any theories on that, please do let me know. But yeah, it's a really, really lovely one. And then yeah, I guess like it's weird actually. I think because coming from the flat where all of my plants were in the living room, I look at the living room now and I'm like, to me, it does not feel like a planty space. Like, it feels very minimal plant-wise, but when I say that to a non-planty person, they just kind of laugh. So maybe I don't know, maybe I'm just a bit oblivious to the plants now. But then coming up to the little dining area, I said it as well before, but one of the things that we loved when we first came to look around this house was the steps going up. Don't know what it is about that. There's just something very kind of like cottagey and homey about it. We really like the open plan list, but then yeah, we like the split levels. So if you follow me up the steps, we come to the dining area. I've got a very dehydrated pothos plant here. You can see it's going very, very, very curly, and this is in desperate need of water. As are, in fact, all of the plants in my cabinet. That one there is in desperate need of water. Most of the ones in my plant room are in desperate need of water. So yes, as I say, on the to-do list. But the kitchen, so again, not massively planty. We wanted to try and keep the kitchen as more of like a practical space, because again, at the flat it did get to the point where lots of things were kind of flopping in our face. I started off creating a kind of edible garden in here, and we had like, it's going okay. There are quite a few things that are like edible garden-ish. My Coleus amboinicus over here, which I've spoken about in so many videos before, one of my favourite plants. It is so gorgeous, but look at how big it has got. This one needs a serious chop back because it's absolutely insane. And so yeah, there's a few edible garden things. We've got a bay tree here that is doing really well. Again, very dehydrated, so that goes for all of these plants. But yeah, doing really well, giving me lots of lovely new growth. Got some spring onions that I need to, in fact, pot outside. And something that I was really excited about and has been doing really well up until a couple of days ago is the little, I believe, kumquat tree. And it's given me so much fruit. Like, in fact, let me try and pick one. yeah, all of these, I think it's kumquat. Oh God, if it's not, I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, loads and loads and loads of these. And then almost overnight, the rest of the plant seems to have just shriveled. Like all of its leaves look really unhappy. And it has got moisture in the soil, which makes me think it's doing the thing that I, like, for me, is very... it resembles like a ficus a lot, is when it gets just a little bit too much water, it will just go, oh, poof, and like die very quickly. So I need to get that one out of its pot, probably harvest all of the fruit that it's got. Could probably chop these up and like put them into little like little drinks, or like, I don't know, make some jam or something. I mean, that would be a very small pot of jam actually. But I'm sure there's things that you can do with them. But yeah, I have a horrible feeling that this one might be a bit of a goner, just because I think, assuming the roots aren't awful, if they are, obviously I'll need to give them a bit of a hydrogen peroxide treatment. But like, I think my go-to would be to like put it into sphagnum moss or something like that. And I, as I say, like I will put it into a prop box, cling film, all the good stuff, but I'm not going to be here to monitor it. So I don't know, it just makes me nervous. As I say, knowing what I know about plants that have done this before, it does just make me go, oh my goodness, you're going to need a lot of attention. And I won't be here to do that. So yes, little worried. Also, often when a plant starts either like excessively flowering, or in this case, obviously giving you lots of fruit, it can be a sign that it's getting ready to die back. Sometimes they do just kind of do that in an attempt to self-reproduce before they kick the bucket, so I hope that's not the case, but yeah, so we'll see how it goes with that one. One piece of Easter cake left. Also, I've been so organised, I have made myself a load of granola to take with me to Malvern. I'm driving to Malvern, which is absolutely terrifying. The biggest drive I've ever done by myself. So yeah, snacks for the way. This little one here as well, I chopped up. This is my Hoya Pubicalyx Hawaiian. I chopped this up when I first moved in here. It was definitely a good choice. This mother plant is doing so much better for it. I'll show you the sections through in the plant room in a minute, but they are looking so much better. They've all rooted amazingly. So yeah, very good choices on that front. And then this one up here, this pothos plant is doing okay, but I'm finding it a really difficult one to be able to keep on top of watering wise, because I can't easily like monitor the soil up there. So again, yeah, I may need to think about how I grow that plant. I think the answer would probably be to put its pot down here, and then have its foliage kind of running up and going up that way, and then I can monitor the pot down here. But yes, also Ross is out doing some gardening. You can just see his face there. I'm not sure what he's doing. I think he's slacking. But then yeah, coming back through to the dining area, that is the beautiful Dieffenbachia tropic snow that I got from Emma's wedding, and it is such a special plant. I absolutely adore that one. And yeah, it's so dry at the moment, so I must give that a really good hydrate. And yeah, cabinet wise, this is just getting so warm at the moment, so I need to have a really big mix up of what I do in here. I mean, I honestly, like, this sounds bad, part of me is like, do I move this cabinet upstairs, or even, I don't want to say get rid of the cabinet because I love the cabinet, but I'm just really lucky at the moment that I'm actually kind of able to create similar conditions. Maybe not quite so like stable in regards to humidity, but very similar conditions in this space to that space, just because like I can run my humidifier like all the time in here if I want to. Yeah, I've had so many thoughts on this that I should probably chat you through in a full dedicated video, because I've just basically got lots of things in my cabinet that I feel like I'm not getting the best out of, and that are just not dormant in there, but are just not doing what I think they're capable of doing. I don't think it's down to the setup, because I'm actually really happy with the setup in there. Maybe it's just to do with growing the wrong plants in there. Maybe that's it. But yeah, I think I just need to do a little bit of reevaluating and see how I feel after that. but also not plant related. But look at this. This is very exciting. I got this on Amazon, and it's a time-lapse camera. So I'm hoping when I go to Malvern, I'll be able to kind of film the whole process of everything show garden-wise coming together to show you afterwards. So yeah, fingers crossed that works. But then, yes, again, just to reiterate, plant room wise, it's a room of dehydration right now. There's lots of things that are just so thirsty. My poor section of Monstera dubia hanging up here, you can see it is just, oh my God, its poor leaves are just hanging, and yellowing, because this needs a thorough rehydrate. This one is still just growing in cling film at the moment with sphagnum moss. I really do need now, I think, to get this one onto my moss pole. I've been saying it for such a long time, but because it's got such a hefty root system now, like, look at those roots coming out of the bottom. They're huge. It just requires a lot more space. So I might actually try and see if I can do that before I go. If not, I think I'm gonna bring that one out of this room so it's not getting quite so much light, because if you don't want plants to grow quite so quickly, obviously giving them less light is a good way to do that. And for the sake of 2.5 weeks, I know that plant will be fine. But this one here, my Majestic, that one is almost touching the ceiling now, and I did so much air layering on this plant, including wrapping the entire pole in cling film to keep the humidity in. And in fact, this is probably what I'm going to do with all of my moss poles when I go to Malvern, just because the last time I hydrated this one was about 1.5 weeks ago, and you can see the moss is still lovely and moist in there. It just means that it doesn't evaporate as quickly, and therefore your plants will stay happier. But yeah, this one's beautifully rooted now, so when I get back, I don't think I'm going to risk doing it before I go, but when I get back, I am going to be able to chop it and get some lovely babies from it. Start it as a really big full plant, which is the dream. But yeah, as I say, all of my moss poles I plan on doing a similar thing with. And all of my plants down here, what I think I am going to do is I think I'm going to split them into things that need just reservoirs filled, because I feel like that's quite an easy thing to monitor. And then the ones that I am a little bit worried about, so for example, my variegated Alocasia Sarian, my Aristolucia Lucanera, ones that are very sensitive, I'm going to put them into a prop box type thing like I've got down there, but then I will probably put that right by the window so it's got really, really good light, and it will just contain the humidity, meaning that Ross won't have to do anything, and I hopefully won't need to worry too much. But look at that beautiful leaf that my Luxurian's pushing out. It's absolutely gorgeous. That plant I am still growing in a jar, and I just know for a fact I'm going to need to break that jar to get the plant out now. It's definitely time. It had an upgrade. It has got such a big, hefty root system, and I love it. But as I say, it's going to involve some jar smashing in order to fix it. So again, I've got such a big long list of things I need to do, and I'm back already, but that is very high on the list. And then in regards to things like little propagations and stuff, I've got a bit of Aglaonema and Dieffenbachia propping together in water down here. And in fact, I think I might bring these with me to Malvern. So I've spoken loads about the idea for our show garden, but basically it's called a reflection of nature, and it's going to be a slice of jungle on one side mirrored with how you can grow plants in a home environment, kind of the same types of plants and ones that change forms and all that sort of stuff. And I'd like to get some lovely propagations in there. So yeah, I think I might bring these ones. Also, at the time you are watching this video, chances are the show garden will be built, because I will be in Malvern when this goes up. So yeah, keep an eye on my Instagram stories and stuff, and I will be vlogging the whole process, so I will let you know how it all comes together. Oh my goodness, also this one is so due for a pot upgrade. It's very dehydrated. It's one of my Scindapsus plants. But oh my goodness, look at that yellowing. Yeah, it's not good. It needs attention. But my Pallidiflorum, this one is just absolutely loving life at the moment. It is one that is very thirsty. It's also in terracotta, so it does need a fair bit of water. I think this is one that Ross probably will need to water while I'm away. I'm going to walk him through how I would recommend doing that, and I think it will probably involve some moisture meter readings, just because I know that plant very well myself, but it's my baby and I find it very hard to, like, it's not anything personal, but I just find it hard to trust other people when they're kind of like monitoring my plants for water, because like that one could be overwatered very easily, you know. And that inflorescence just there is getting ready to die off. I didn't pollinate that one in the end. I probably, in fact, yeah, that would just pull off now. Oh, I'm not going to pull it actually in case it pulls the whole plant out. I will snip that off afterwards. However, this is technically now an infructescence, because this one has pollinated beautifully and you can see the berries starting to develop, which is so exciting. I have no idea how long this is going to take, but the last time I successfully pollinated one of my anthuriums, it took like a year, so I'm hoping it won't take that long. However, this one is just throwing out the most crazy leaves at the moment. Like, you cannot, I feel like you just can't get a full-on grasp of just how big that is. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. I think it's probably about 5 foot, and I'm 5'5", so it's not that far off being as tall as me. And amazingly, it is still giving me a new leaf as well. Like, that's a new leaf just starting there. And I kind of thought that seeing as it was using so much energy to produce berries, that might stop for a little while, but clearly not. That was the thing that put me off pollinating again, because I was like, I don't want to just drain the plant of all of its energy. However, if I get a new inflorescence now, I think I'm probably going to go ahead and just pollinate it, because not that I want to stop the leaves from sizing up, but I actually don't know what I will do if they get to like floor length. I guess I could maybe, I don't know, maybe see if I could get some sort of shelf over there so that they can have a little bit more room to trail. Maybe, I don't know. The only other option would be is that we have got quite high ceilings, because obviously of the step down here, we have got quite high ceilings in the living room. It would involve grow lights and stuff, but in theory, I could maybe do something, I don't know, up there. Maybe it could replace my Dean McDowell. Any ideas, please do let me know. But yeah, so that is one that's doing really, really well, and I'm so proud of. And in fact, anthurium-wise, since I've moved in here, there's been loads of great things that have happened. My Regal Magnificum gave me this absolute monster of a leaf, which does not look completely happy, but I just haven't figured that one out yet. I don't know quite what goes wrong when that one gives me a leaf. It seems to always happen. But nonetheless, it's sizing up beautifully and it just looks so gorgeous. I'm so unbelievably proud of that one at the moment. And then I've got some that I just don't really have places for yet. I've got this, this was actually my coffee table from the flat, and the only reason I swapped out the TV unit for this one is just so that light could pass through, so I can still like put lower light plants underneath there. And yeah, like I've got some plants that I'm just not like, I don't know, just not 100% on at the moment. Like my Caladium lindenii, the most beautiful foliage, but one that I have just never been able, I don't know, I've just never had the best luck with that plant. And I'm starting to get to the point of like, is it really worth it? I've got other things that I'd really like to be bringing into my collection. I feel like this one could lift out quite well. The one thing I will say though is that I am currently really happy with the level of plants I've got. Plant care has felt like very manageable for me, and I kind of think for the time being this feels like maybe it's kind of my limit. I never want to take it past the point where I'm just finding it stressful and not fun anymore. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking of maybe, I know Emma did a 1 in, 1 out policy when she got new plants last year, and I actually think that's quite a good idea so that you don't end up overwhelmed. Oh, also, no, just noticed my bed of paradise has been giving me a lovely new leaf, but it's grown up. Oh no. Oh no, careful. It's grown up and it's pushed. There's a break, there we go. Yeah, needs a bit of space to breathe. I think it should straighten itself out now, I hope. But yes, as I say, I want to keep my plant care fun and I don't want it to stress me out. Also, this is very exciting. Look at this beautiful little new leaf coming in. I'm so excited about it. I just love the form of this anthurium so much. It's so gorgeous and I'm gutted that I'm probably going to miss it sizing up. Because yeah, I think I've said it in videos, but I think coming back to this space after having spent a couple of weeks away, I think I'm going to just notice such massive differences in my plants because all of them pretty much are kicking out quite an insane level of growth at the moment, and just yeah, not seeing it for a couple of weeks and then coming back, and I think I'm going to get a bit of a shock. But one thing that I did show you the other day, but I'm so excited about, is the fact that my Alocasia portadora is actually, I mean, God, it is moving fast now. It's actually kicking out quite a bit of growth. I think, again, maybe when I get back, this one will have maybe got some leaves. I don't know. But yeah, those are kind of the main things in this room. I could take you through so many little individuals, but those are the main kind of like overview-y things in this space. As I say, I want to do a full houseplant tour at some point soon, but I'd really like to wait until I've got things like little cabinets set up and more stuff upstairs kind of in order, and I don't know, just a few more little details. Also, side note, look how beautiful that new leaf is on my Jose Bueno. It's just so gorgeous. But yeah, I'm going to give you a full houseplant tour at some point soon, but for now, I'm just going to leave it as an overview. And I'm going to take you outside, guys. This is going to be a first look at the garden. I'm just going to slip my shoes on. But yeah, me and Ross have actually been filming quite a lot of outdoor kind of like gardening content because I want to start a little outdoor series on my channel, but we just haven't got around to piecing it all together, and there's been a few ups and downs with things that haven't gone quite right, and we're very much still learning with it all. Hello, baby girl. Hello, sweetheart. Oh, hi. Also, Yoli sadly has to be out there on the lead at the moment. She can't be out there off the lead just yet because we get so many cats in the garden. Hello, Waggy Tail. Hello, Waggy Tail. So she does have to be supervised in the garden. So for now, I'm going to leave her inside as we go out. Ross is actually out there doing some bits at the moment. But come on, let's go out and see what he's doing. So this won't be like a full individual plant tour, but little hanging basket there. This is a pelargonium. I think it was previously geranium. I know nothing about outdoor plants, so this is, as I say, learning curve. Little herb garden just there. We want to try and get more going. That is also very makeshift, kind of like bashed into the sleepers. And then, hi Ross. Hello dear. We also know that we need to cut the grass and stuff like that, but we're doing things in a strange order. But let's just go and see what Ross is doing. Also, look at the bluebells. Aren't they gorgeous? We also put up a bird feeder, and so far it's only attracted rats.
And a pigeon.
And a pigeon.
Hello there.
Hello there, what are you up to?
Welcome to my garden. I'm Ross. I've sort of put a fence in.
Oh, you have? Oh my goodness.
I'm actually quite glad you've seen it at this stage because I'm sure I did it poorly. It seems to now look like I did it rather well.
Oh, this looks fantastic.
But I hope you like it. I'm saying this for the
It looks awesome, genuinely. It looks genuinely good. So these steps weren't here last week. Ross put them in. We kind of just figured it out as we went. And we've got slates arriving that we're going to put in the steps to kind of define the area a little bit and make it look a little bit nicer. But before it was just kind of a mound of dirt.
This whole garden is like a mound of dirt.
It is a little
We're just
bit, but
moving dirt to more practical places.
but we've got this lovely decked area just here that at some point we're gonna hopefully get some lovely tables and chairs for and whatnot. We've got a diddy one at the moment. And we've got big plans for the garden that we'll talk you through in detail when we do a little bit more specific gardening content. But just here, we're actually planning on doing a kind of like brick-built barbecue. We're going to try and do that ourselves.
We're going to do it ourselves.
We're going to do it ourselves. But yeah, at the moment we've just started to kind of dig out a little bit. We've got this beautiful magnolia tree here as well, which a few weeks ago was in full bloom and it looked so gorgeous. I did take some clips, so I'll try and put one on the screen so that you can see. But yeah, it's now got all this gorgeous foliage coming through and it's really pretty. But then if we come up to the top of the garden, this is an area that we're not quite sure what we're going to do with yet. We've got this lovely space up here that's obviously very wild. And we've kind of spoke about, at least for maybe this year, kind of keeping things a little bit wild up here while we make some decisions. But it goes back quite far. We've got a lovely camellia there as well, which has just been in bloom. But yeah, we've got a diddy little shed there. And then all of this space. So again, like it doesn't get crazy direct sun or anything like that, but some of the things that we'd like to do are things like vegetable patches, maybe a little greenhouse at some point.
This is kind of probably the last space that we're going to figure out. We feel like bottom here would be great because it's more stuff and social, whereas this is our bit of an unknown because there's so much option there.
Exactly. Yeah, there's just so much we could do. So
like a greenhouse would be quite a nice idea.
Yeah. We've got another magnolia tree there as well. We are kind of just thinking, are we going to have to get rid of some trees if we want to do big things? I mean, neither of us want to. I think maybe just some crowning or chopping back at some point maybe. But again, these are just kind of conversations we're having as we're figuring things out, because neither of us have had this kind of space, outdoor space to play with before, have we? So it's...
No, it's quite fun to have a bit of a project.
It is.
Garden that's not, it's like sort of the basics were here, like obviously with this being here, it was so great that we don't have to worry about that, we can start using it. But now all the stuff around it, we can do what we want with it and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, this is where we're up to at the moment, and we'll keep you updated with the things that we're growing, the little things that we're doing. As I say, I hope this is a death trap at the moment. Like every single step, it kind of looks like you know where you're going to tread, and then you go somewhere completely different. But I do hope the next time you see it, it will be lovely and slated and a little more stable. And we'll keep the updates coming. But yeah, those are the updates, houseplant, house and garden so far. I told Ross he could wave in the background. But those are the things that are going on at the moment. Bye-bye, Ross.
I didn't get the speaking lines in this bit.
By all means, Ross, speak.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, our garden. Goodbye from our garden.
Goodbye from our garden. But yeah, I will catch up with all of you when I'm back from Malvern, which at the time of watching this video will probably only be a week or so, maybe even sooner, I don't know. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.